what is this production?
Oh!
Oh my God.
And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of that what he just said. You can put them earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it.
Jake Paul has reacted to the new sparring and training footage of Gervonta Tank Davis that recently went viral across social media, and his response has everyone talking. The clip shows Davis looking sharper, faster, and more explosive than ever as he prepares for his next fight, leaving fans buzzing about whether Tank is entering his prime. Davis has made his name in the lighter division. He's last fought around 133 to 135 pounds and has never officially weighed above 140 pounds in pro bouts. Meanwhile, Paul is a natural cruiserweight, typically fighting in the 200-pound range, and he recently weighed in at that weight in his bouts. This isn't just a few pounds difference, it's several weight classes. When the gap is that wide, a lot more comes into play. The heavier fighter often has advantages in durability, power, ability to absorb punches, and leverage. It becomes less about just skill and more about who can handle being hit and still stay effective.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really gonna do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Kermel Moton recently looked back on a sparring session he had with Davis when he was just 15 or 16. He admitted he was nervous at first, but said the session quickly turned into a chess match. Not all power, but timing, speed, and counterwork. Moton said Davis never went full force trying to knock him out. Instead, they traded angles and rhythm in a strategic exchange. According to him, Davis's strength was noticeable, but in terms of pure skill and quickness, they were back and forth. Moton called the experience fun, challenging, and a significant learning moment in his development as a fighter.
What was it like when you sparred him? I know you sparred Tank early on. Yeah. What was that experience like? Like, replay that experience for me. Like, you coming out of it, what was your thought?
Yeah, I was nervous at first. I think I was 15 at the time we sparred, so he wasn't really, like, trying to knock me out or nothing like that. But we was going, like, he was using the speed on me. Like, we was both, like, going speed for speed, and it was great. It was like a chess match.
Did you understand in that moment, like, why he is who he is?
Yeah, I seen why he's able to beat these guys. Then I also seen why I'm so, like, I got all this hype around me, too.
Sean Porter defended Davis's decision to step into an exhibition with Jake Paul, arguing that critics miss the bigger picture. For Porter, the fight is less about proving greatness in the ring and more about securing financial stability for Davis and his family. Because it is an exhibition, the risks are limited by agreed-upon rules and safety measures, and the main goal is entertainment. Porter emphasizes that fighters often face short careers and must take opportunities that provide both exposure and financial reward. From this perspective, Tank Davis accepting such a fight is not selling out, but rather protecting his future while giving fans a show. Porter's words highlight the balance between purists who want legacy and fighters who must think of their lives beyond the sport.
They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like, once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like, I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter getting in the ring with a 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this thing.
In contrast, many believe that despite all the hype, this disparity makes the fight more a spectacle than a truly competitive or fair boxing match. Even promoters seem to be acknowledging this. Special safety rules like a catch weight of 195 pounds, use of larger gloves, and treating the match as an exhibition are being used precisely because of those dangers. For them, the fight is less about weight and more about the fact that Gervonta has fought elite champions, while Jake's resume is built on limited experience. They picture Davis darting in, landing clean punches, and making Jake look clumsy despite the size gap.
Comment about it. My question is, what's the rules, and like, are they gonna actually try and knock each other out? Because it's gonna be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's gonna have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah,
You know,
big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's gonna eat his.
I thought
guts.
Jake was gonna fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed.
No, that was
more-
actually getting.
That
that
is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever
Yeah.
heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like
So
that.
what is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we
Yes.
don't punch
Yep.
each other in the jaw?
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not
they can
very
get away with
interesting to
it.
me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah,
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person.
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well, Floyd
dude.
likely has shoes on there.
Oh, dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small. Wow. Great fighter.
Chael Sonnen recently criticized Jake Paul's decision to shift focus from Anthony Joshua to a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, calling it a letdown from what had been promised. Sonnen argued that unlike Paul, Tank isn't naturally gifted at selling fights or building hype. He lets his fists do the talking inside the ring, but he lacks the promotional instincts that Paul has cultivated over time. While Sonnen acknowledges Tank's undeniable skill and credibility as a fighter, he believes that without Paul's ability to generate narrative and media attention, the event just wouldn't gain the same traction. In Sonnen's view, the match's appeal depends heavily on Paul's promotional machine, rather than just the clash of two fighters.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for 2. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Meanwhile, Davis's view of Jake Paul has clearly evolved. At first, Davis dismissed Paul as no more than a loud, attention-seeking spectacle, publicly scoffing at Paul's claims and treating him like a clown in the boxing world. As Paul began to take training more seriously and gain legitimacy, Davis slowly shifted. He has since acknowledged Paul's work ethic, mental toughness, and commitment in the gym. While he still doesn't consider Paul top-tier boxing material, Davis more recently has appeared open to the idea of a fight with him, influenced by Paul's drawing power and public profile.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in a box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Especially after Jake Paul's convincing win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., respect for him within the boxing community has grown substantially. The Anaheim event shattered the venue's gate revenue record, overtaking shows headlined by elite fighters, signaling massive commercial traction. Esteemed figures such as Oscar de la Hoya now see Paul as serious about boxing, suggesting he could genuinely contend for world titles. Even Manny Pacquiao acknowledged that, regardless of lingering doubts, Paul's dedication cannot be ignored. The fight also elevated his technical credibility, with analysts noting his ability to control the ring and maintain composure in a hostile environment.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially announced that his second chapter in boxing is just beginning, and this time, he's targeting real boxers across the division. After defeating Andre August, Paul stated he's shifting away from crossover or MMA opponents and is now focused on the traditional boxing route, aiming squarely at legitimate pro fighters. He doubled down in a CNN interview, declaring that he plans to fight everybody, particularly the biggest, toughest challenges, where he's an underdog and can prove himself in the ring. That resolve extends on his public platforms and interviews. Paul wants to move past spectacle and truly build a boxing legacy, taking on credible opponents to show he belongs in the sport's upper level.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
I don't know, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
However, the vast weight difference between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis was too significant to be overlooked, and ultimately, Georgia declined to approve the matchup because of it. Because of that, Paul's team pulled out the application for permits in Georgia and decided to move the event to Miami instead. This kind of change shows how complicated it is to set up big exhibition fights. Local regulators look at safety, fairness, and risk, not just money. For Davis, being rejected in Georgia highlights how much skepticism still surrounds him. And for Paul, shifting to Miami fits his style, making headlines and keeping the drama going. The move changes how fans will feel about the event, reshapes logistics, and shows how delicate the business side of boxing can be.
There's no way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You could still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed on the State Farm Arena event.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's rise in boxing has been built not just on promotion, but on a kind of disrespect toward fighters of past generations. They claim that by pulling retired legends into the ring with promises of big paydays, he undermines the integrity of the sport. Even icons like Mike Tyson have been tempted back after years away, which excites fans but also raises real safety concerns.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight, against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
In the end, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis spectacle underscores just how blurred the line between sport and entertainment has become. What some see as a mismatch, others view as a high-stakes business move, one that gives both men exposure, big paydays, and fresh platforms. The weight gap, shifting venues, promotional power plays, and debates over legitimacy will always swirl around this bout. But for fans, critics, and insiders alike, the real story may be watching how these two very different fighters handle the pressure, perception, and repercussions come fight night. Whether it's remembered as a circus or a turning point in crossover boxing, the ripples will last.
Optically, visually seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it.
What do you think? Does this fight make sense? Or is it too lopsided to respect? Drop your take in the comments.